Communication can ruin everything, and a big reason for a lack of communication is a lack of understanding. A lot of people lack understanding about one another because of the different ways that they communicate over the course of their life. We'll be learning how children, teenagers, adults, and elderly all communicate differently due to the various experiences and the vast differences in their lifespan. Children communicate in various different ways due to a large amount of growth in the beginning. At 6 months, toddlers have considered to hit milestones in communication if they can make various sounds, if they can give like a single name like mama or papa, if they can give vocal signs about their happiness and sadness. Toddlers have considered to hit milestones at 18 months if they can create simple words, if they can shake their head like with yes or no, and if they can point to objects they want like food or water. At 36 months, toddlers have considered to hit milestones if they can follow like 2 to 3 step simple instructions, if they can name like close family members and friends, and if they can follow conversations that last 2 to 3 sentences. Then there's preschool age. Children have considered hit milestones at age 3 if they can name familiar items or various people around them, such as teachers, and if they can give their own name, age, and gender to others. At age 4, they've considered hit milestones if they're capable of telling simple stories or singing simple songs, such as like row, row, row your boat, and if they're able to ask questions to others and give answers in return for questions they're asked. And at age 5, children have considered hit milestones if they can speak properly to others and if they can remember such things such as their address and if they understand the rules of grammar enough to actually be able to misapply them. And finally, later in their life, children have considered hit milestones if they can do proper listening, such as actually being able to communicate properly. So that means being able to understand what they're being told and be able to provide proper feedback to the other children. They're also considered milestones if they're able to speak properly. And this means they're able to express themselves properly through their speech and are able to expand their vocabulary through their use of speech. And finally, they're considered milestones if they're able to write properly. That means spelling properly, spelling sentences and paragraphs properly, and being able to express themselves with their writing. Teenagers, however, don't quite communicate as well as some children do. Teenagers use electronics a great amount more than the other people of other ages due to the fact that it's a simpler and easier way to communicate with others and allows them easier access to a greater community of people to talk to. They talk about various things online, such as homework, various trends, the conflicts around them, personal drama, and various sporting events. However, this constant use is unhealthy because it can lead to anxiety in personal communication, and it gets rid of there's no meaningfulness in electronic communication compared to face-to-face communication. However, this great amount of electronic communication means there's a great lack of physical communication between teenagers, and this leads to the inability to physically communicate as well, because it can be easily viewed as threatening when it's because of the great differences between all of it. An example is how we can end conversations immediately when you're communicating electronically, but you can't do so when you're physically talking to a person. And another way how it's not good for teenagers to communicate online so frequently is because their listening and speech skills deteriorate over time, and because of their infrequent use of such skills. However, there are ways to fix it, there's such ways to fix such problems. At young age, parents can stop toddlers from watching television when they're younger, because this can lead to bad habits over time due to how entrancing television is to small children. They can also limit the time teenagers use electronics through limiting because electronics over a great amount of time can lead to bad habits such as sleep deprivation, and it can also cause damage to their eyes through frequent use, thus staring at the screen. A good reason why we should split their attention away from their electronics into physical activities is because it can lead to a healthier body and greater communicative skills. However, adults are much more effective communicators than children are. They're a lot better thorough listeners. That means they properly understand the true meaning and the undertones of conversation, and they can give proper feedback to other people. They also understand nonverbal signals a lot better than children. That means they understand topics such as body language a lot better, and body language is capable of giving a greater deal of information than verbal signals can. And then they're able to control their stress levels better than children and teenagers do. That means they're able to communicate rationally, not give in to wild emotions, and they can speak better even under great pressure. However, there are a lot of changes between communication when you become an adult to an elderly because of the various maladies that age causes to a human body. One such example is that their verbal ways of speaking change. So their voice tremor, their speaking rate, their pitch and fluency all change and distort due to their great age. And also, they're incapable of speaking at quite a fast rate because of their impaired senses. It causes them to not be able to comprehend the information as quickly as they could before. They also have bad ways with cognition. They're incapable of remembering things as well as they could before, and that leads to a lack of understanding towards what is being told to them. They also gain various diseases over their age, such as hearing loss and Parkinson's, which means that they won't be able to communicate nearly as well as they could when they were younger. And there's also the issue of aphasia, which is a disease that happens in the brain that doesn't allow you to understand and express communication and topics as easy as you could before. A big reason for aphasia is strokes, which is common among the elderly. And overall, this has been all about the different stages that children go through in communication, how disconnected teenagers are from communicating to others, how effective adults can be at times when it comes to communication, and the various troubles that elderly have when it comes to communicating with others. In the end, communication is about realizing and understanding the difference between all of us and fixing them.